recording.
Recording, nice. Yeah, bro. Basically,
Yeah, yeah.
Endow is an abbreviation for endowment. It's an endowment that was founded by, well, it's owned by nobody, but it is managed by a council. And the two people who run basically it's a blockchain policy council. So they do basically fiscal policy. They think of kind of like a government, but there's no representatives, there's no secretary, there's no president. So the two owners though, they're not like Satoshi. I know it's like anonymous, but these guys, one of the guys, created about 25 patents he still owns that are that are owned by Google, and the other gentleman has a tremendous amount of experience creating $1 billion companies and selling them, selling them publicly. So these guys, like, they're huge. I sent you their bios a while
Yeah,
back.
yeah.
I'll send it to you again.
Yo,
But these
Vin.
guys are like the real deal.
Yo, Vin. You the real deal.
Yeah.
Let me see that. Let me see that view, man. Let me see that view. What's going on?
Oh yeah.
Because
Let's see it
Abo
over
is
here.
out there. He's in the city. He's in New York, man. This is a kid from the streets of Lawtown, the streets of Lawrence, and look at him now. Financial
Yeah, man.
district.
It's wild. You buttering me up, man. You buttering me up. But it is true, man. I mean, freaking, it was a big sacrifice. But we learned the greater the sacrifice, the greater reward. What's up, guys? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Let's see. So everybody's just like, this is my favorite building over here. It's like,
Oh, look at that.
yeah, those, yeah, bro. That's the Gary building. The architect.
Okay.
I know you're into that thing, bro. But yeah, we're right here in a financial district. So yeah, bro. Going back to that, I get, every time I look at this, man, it's breathtaking. And look, they're doing construction in this building right here.
From looking at 3-story tenement houses to looking at, skyscrapers and high rises, man. I'm proud of you, man. I'm proud of you. You're putting Lawrence on the map. You're putting Lawrence on the map. Let's check him out with the suit. Let's look at that suit. That's how he shows up to work.
Come
man.
on.
He shows up ready, baby. Oh, look at him. Look at him. Look at him.
Yeah, man. You got to dress for success, man. You got to dress for success. That's how it is. Right?
Yeah, man.
So, essentially,
I'm dressed for paradise because I'm in Florida right now. So it's nice and hot, man.
Right. Pick your preference, right? Dress for success and dress for paradise.
Yeah.
They both got their moments. That's a fact, man.
So tell me a little bit about Endow and what it's about and why people should know about Endow as an investment vehicle, why I should, get on the rooftops and say, hey, guys, look in this direction, get to know us and get to know about Endow and what we're doing and what we're making happen for people. And then also the path to prosperity via, crypto and some of these financial vehicles.
Of course. So Endow, I was talking a little bit about the owners, and essentially it's an endowment that they created. So there's a lot of fundraising around creating a cryptocurrency that serves as a true store of value. Now, what are some stores of value? Some may argue real estate, gold, silver, like other precious metals and commodities that are, forms of a store of value, essentially. And, a lot of people think back in the day, we might have thought the dollar was a store of value, but not necessarily. At least the educated investor, once you find out, well, it's just a fiat currency. So that's why Bitcoin has increased in popularity. The issue with Bitcoin, and I do own Bitcoin, is that Bitcoin itself has, it's very volatile. And since it's not regulated by anybody, it's not controlled by anything, there's no oversight, then that's why there's huge swings. So if you're putting 100 grand in a Bitcoin, that can be 10 grand, tomorrow, or it could be 2 million, right? There's no guarantee of that.
Volatility, baby.
Mm-hmm.
It's a
which is awesome, right? Because it's good to have a different mix in your portfolio, right? Have some of your money invested into, I'm not giving a financial advice, but You know, a lot of these guys that I surround myself with, who are way more successful than I am right now, what strategies they've used, right? They have different asset classes, right? So some, you know, they own real estate. Actually, almost every single one of them owns real estate.
90%,
You know, for good reasons.
90%, 90% of the wealth,
90%, man. That's that's why you went all in on it, because I mean, look at the type of people that you're gonna meet just by being involved in that. Like, you have to think at a different level to invest most of your liquid wealth into something that's now illiquid, right? But then, you know, it creates a
right,
whole lifestyle for you, because now it's paying you in so many different
right,
ways, and it's saving you money, you know, from all the tax advantages. So it's crazy. But when it comes to Bitcoin, that's the issue, is the volatility. No one really can ascertain or guarantee that. What I like about NDAO is that it addresses that by having this blockchain policy council, where they very carefully monitor how much supply is in the ecosystem. So as you see, you know, there's only a certain amount of Bitcoin available, right? And little by little that gets mined. So what they're doing is something similar. The difference is that it is being managed by a policy council, and essentially the reason they have certain policies that they can create that allow them, basically anybody can, right? If you own NDAO, right, you have voting rights. You go in and you say, hey, here's what I think could happen with this coin, right? Here's my proposition, or you can write code for it. There's a whole bunch of other things you can do with it. So from a very like basic for the lame understanding here, it's a coin that's meant to be a store value. So if you want to be like, hey, you know, I want 100 grand and I want to make 200 grand tomorrow, good, put it in a Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin is a good speculative asset, in my opinion. Real estate is a good tax shelter. It's a good appreciative asset. I mean, there's so many other reasons for it. You know, stocks, speculative, right? So for people who are watching this later and they say, hey, you know, but yeah, you know, so you mean to tell me I can make like 200 grand tomorrow if I put 100 grand? Hey, you could do that with Bitcoin, you know? But for
right.
those of you who say, hey, I got a lot of money just sitting around and I know that I'm not going to touch this thing, you know, for 2 or 3 years, and I don't want to be susceptible to inflation, complete, or whatever might happen with the government printing all this money. And, you know, because it's estimated about $160 billion is going to be printed, you know, each month, you know, ever
Each
since
month, man. Every
Yellen,
single
each
month.
month, bro. So we're going into the stimulus economy, you know, a fourth stimulus round coming out right now. So that dollar don't mean nothing, baby. That's why essentially the if you're gonna hold on to cash, you might as well put in something that's a good store of value. Now, NDAO is a coin that, you know, is holding that necessarily that value as a coin itself, a cryptocurrency that you can exchange in the markets, right? You got your wallet, you can make purchases with it just like anything else. And but the difference is, what I like about it, when you go through InvestView, is you can get it online at $23 it is right now. But if you get it through InvestView, because we have the relationship, you can get in at 15. And what I like about that is it's kind of like real estate when you find, you know, a wedge deal, right? Under market value,
Under
you know,
market
property.
value. You look at that and your eyes just like, what? How much? It's like,
Which is like, dude, like
yeah,
I haven't seen that yet. Like, I own Bitcoin, I own Ethereum, I own
sure.
CoinZoom,
Same,
I own BAT with basic attention coin. So
right?
I own a few other ones as well, and then we trade a bunch of like Chinese currencies, and you know that are out there, like Chinese cryptocurrencies. So
Right.
like but I don't see anything like that. So for me, it's like a no brainer when I say, okay, if I could put a grand into this thing, or 10 grand, or however much into this thing, and the moment I purchase it, right, the moment you
Boom.
list that property, right, it's going up 50%. Like, for me, that's crazy. Now,
Like,
obviously, I'm
that's
not
wild.
promising returns or anything,
Yeah.
but what I could say is
Sure.
it's an instant, the wedge you get from getting in at InvestView at $15, which at noon it's going to change to I don't know what the price is. I hope that it's going to be
It'll
lower
fluctuate. It'll fluctuate.
than
Yep, it's
23.
gonna change.
I hope. I don't know what
Right.
their strategy is, how they, you know, they monitor the coin, but right now it's at 15, right? That you get in through InvestView. It was at 16 when we started at the beginning of this year, which is crazy to think about that. So now it's at 23. So if you put, what's that?
So
16
it keeps
over
on rising
23.
up, man. From 15 to 23 is 8. So if somebody were to take, let's say, even just $1,000, right? So $1,000, let's say they divide that by 15. So they're getting 66 coins. So 66 times 8. So they're making $533.
Correct. On that grant. Yep.
On that grant.
Now that is only
that's hold on. 533. That is at least 53%.
That's, bro. And that, you know what's crazy? That's only at the moment you buy it, not to mention the 15% per year dividend that you receive for holding it for the 3 years. So 15% a year dividend that you get on that. Now, so that's cash flow coming in. You're getting paid on that. You're getting paid on that either daily or weekly, depending on like the type of wallet that you have. So essentially, you know, that 50% for the year is being paid out to you, and you're seeing that coming in every day into your wallet. Not to mention what happens when it goes from 23 to 25 to 26, right from there. So that is, to me, I mean, that to me is just a concoction for, you know, for getting paid multiple ways. The appreciation of it, the return that you'll get when, you know, when the contract's over at the end of the 3 years, plus the dividend that you're getting paid for every single day. And let's say for the critics on here, what if the opposite happens? So let's say it goes to 0, which is possible. Right? In this world, it's definitely possible. So if it goes to 0, well, you're a part of the total protection plan. So, you know, when you buy like a TV or like a MacBook Pro or something, you can buy insurance with it, like a protection plan.
Yeah.
So it's not insurance.
It's the AppleCare products, you know, the AppleCare product insurance, baby. You know, I have a Mac myself. So I'm familiar with what you're talking about. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. That's actually, I think I'm gonna use that. That's actually a good way to describe it. AppleCare. Exactly. It's AppleCare, but it's EndowCare, right? So you're basically, you're getting paid on, but I don't know, bro. We're gonna have to pay you patent rights for using that name.
You gotta pay me back, man. I'm gonna register that right now, trademark.
Yo, that's like literally what comes up, because when you think of it, so it's a protection plan. It's backed by Lloyd's of London. So they're worldwide. They've been around since the 1800s. I forget what year exactly, but you guys could look it up. Lloyd's of London. So they have the protection plan with us, where basically you get 100% back, you know, at the end of 5 years if something happened with the, you know, with 5 years to 10 years, depending on what happens with the coin at that point, right? So no matter what happens, you have that protection plan. So that to me is, for me, that was kind of like what, you know, put the key in the lock and threw the key away type of thing. That was it for me, because I said, okay, well, what's my risk, right? In this type of deal, my risk would have been losing my money, but now with the protection plan, it no longer is. So what other risk could you possibly have? The only other risk I would see is if you absolutely need that money in the next 3 years. That would be the risk, I would say. You know,
right?
And if that's the case, it probably wouldn't be Endow.
Right, and I think that's the fair statement to make, especially when we find ourselves during COVID. It's tough times. People are learning how to navigate a pandemic economy, and so whoever is either watching this, seeing this, or whoever's considering investing in some of this stuff, they really have to, you know, do their homework and make sure that they're okay with letting go whatever investment they want to be able to make. But, and the thing is, if you are going to invest in something, now, again, we're not telling people what to do with their money. We're just suggesting that it only makes logical sense to invest in something like this, where you have insurance. Like, you know, you can invest right now in Bitcoin, right? And it can go, and again, this is not to trash on
Yeah.
Bitcoin. So all those lovers, I'm just saying there's no insurance, there is no console, and it's not being regulated in any way, right? So if that's the case, this is at least something that is provides risk adverse opportunity for people. And now more so than before, what we need is risk adverse opportunities for investments that grow over time. So I'm excited about this. I'm excited about the Endow Care, you know, and
Yeah.
how it cares about people who are looking to create a pathway for prosperity during a pandemic, right? And so I think that this is extremely innovative. I love what you're saying. I love what you're sharing here. It's not for everyone, but if somebody is interested in knowing about Endow, this is your man right here. This is your man. I'm not pointing at me. I'm pointing at Vinny and my boy Vinny. Now, Vinny, before we get off here, you know, because we're going on 24 minutes here. I think it's important for people to just kind of hear a snippet of your journey, because you and I come from, you know, we come from Lawrence, man. We come from a place where it's an immigrant community. We understand that it's a resource constrained environment where we don't see a lot of folks that have access to capital, that have access to, you know, 6-figure jobs and all that stuff. Now, it's not been easy for someone like yourself to be where you are today in that office, sitting in the nice suit with your, you know, with your pinstripe tie. So can you share us real quickly in terms of like, hey man, this is where I grew up, and
Yeah,
this
you
is
know
what I
what, bro?
experienced, and this is
You
where I'm
know,
at
I
today.
love this. I love this conversation with you, bro. Like, just to see you in your element, right? Like, to see you being like being exactly the person that you want to be. Like, I can see that in you, and it makes me proud, bro, just to even be like sharing this air, this space with you right now, brother. So I really do appreciate you so much. And you know, and for bringing that up, because it is true what you say. All of this stuff might sound like gibberish if we don't get down to like the reason, the purpose, why, like how does someone even get into something like this? But what's interesting about the question that you asked me was that it did start in Lawrence. You know, I asked you at the beginning of this conversation, before we started this one-on-one, was, bro, like, was it for you, were you always like that, or was there a shift? And for me, and you gave me the answer that for you it's always been like that, continuous events. And I would agree, but I feel like there was a pivot, right? The big pivot for me was, you know, graduating from college in Boston. And but guys, I came from the Bronx. Like, I came from South Bronx. I was born on Creston Avenue in Burnside. It's, if any of you ever been there, there's nothing but chicken places, pizza shops, and incredible, amazing people with a lot of dreams, you know. But there's a lot of obstacles that we face in that community. I mean, anybody knows. I remember when I moved to Massachusetts and people would ask where I'm from, and I would say that part of the Bronx, and they would be like, whoa. I didn't know, like, when you live in that environment, you don't know sometimes how bad or how dangerous things are until you get that different perspective. You get yourself out of there, and now you start realizing, man, yeah, things were actually pretty tough, right? And then what
Right.
starts to seem
Can I
tough for
just,
other people actually seems easier for you.
right. And I want to thank you I want to thank you for mentioning that, because it's so important for people to recognize that this is not a knock on coming from a place that presents adversity for people. It's just to say, give yourself credit for being courageous enough each and every single day and being a warrior, right? And going out there and making it happen. It's having the mental fortitude to say, I not only know how to cope or not only know how to survive, but I know how to thrive in this environment. And if I could thrive in this environment, it's a setup.
It's true, bro.
It's
That
a setup.
and you know what? And like what you're saying right there, you know, there's a saying about, oh, if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere.
Anywhere.
You know, but I feel like that you can adopt that anywhere, really. Like they make that a New York thing. It's not. It goes back to what you originally said. It's a you thing. Like if you can make it in your worst time, then you can make it anywhere, right? That is what makes you so great. So essentially, like, I feel like I've been through the like living in a travesty neighborhood, especially I grew up with my mother. My father was never around. I was just me and and my brother, and my mother was working as much as she could. She didn't really know anything. We didn't have anything. I mean, we'd be happy if we got like, I mean, there were times where it was really bad. We had to go to soup kitchen so we could get some lunch, and it was in the middle of the summer and we're walking around carrying all these bags like from one side of the neighborhood to the other because we didn't have $2 to get on the bus, bro. Like there was times where there was times, bro, where damn man, you letting it out. But there's times where we're like at our last, like, bro, I remember peanut butter like sandwiches. Like we didn't even have jelly because jelly was like a luxury. So I remember I remember I would leave if I got one thing from school, like just a little like piece of cake or a little something, and I put it in the fridge when I was at my grandmother's house, and there's like 20 people living in there, right? By the time I open the fridge later, it's gone. Like, bro, because like people were hungry. There's no food, right?
Yeah,
and my grandmother is spending all her money on lottery tickets. Maybe because she's Puerto Rican, I don't know. Maybe I hope this thing don't get flagged for that. But like like Latino families, Puerto Rican, Dominican, because my father's Dominican, my father's Puerto Rican, my mother's Dominican. Like that was a big that was a big part of the culture back in the days. Maybe today, yeah, kind of. But when I grew up, grandma would spend any extra dollar she got from her Section A, and she would go spend it on the lottery. And then anything she got from the lottery, like, $20, $50, she'd buy, she'd go to the Cuchi Frito, the chicken place, and I'll go buy her a sandwich, keep $1 for me. I'll buy one of those juices the 25-cent juices. They come in the can. Man. They're like in this little bottle. They look like little like grenade barrel type things.
Like it's a little plastic ones. The chubbies.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, the chubbies. It looked like antifreeze, bro. I used to love I would get the red and the green and the blue, all of them, man. Just like those things. I remember I was so hungry one time that, like, cause I would just go to school. My mother, like, we got free lunch because we were in a public school through the system. So I'll go to the after school. There was one time I was so hungry, I went into the bodega and I was contemplating stealing something from the store. Like I went in there and I was looking around, bro, and I'm like, I grabbed these Twinkies and I almost put them up. I'll kind of walk around like mad suspicious, mad suspect around the store.
Thinking about it. You're thinking about
it. And then at some point I was like, you know what?
It's not.
I'll put it back, bro. I'll put it back. It was like, no, you know what I'm saying? But those things motivated me. Going back, so just to wrap up here, at the end of the day, when I was in law, I graduated high honors, from a college in Boston. I really worked my ass off because I was told go to school, get a good grades, get a good job. I followed that system, and I ended up working in Olive Garden. I applied for over 400 jobs. I remember coming out of college with high honors, being involved in a whole bunch of things. And bro, like I ended up just in that situation where I was working at Olive Garden. And that to me, I was like, dude, I need to pay the bills. Like, I need to pay the bills somehow. I need to contribute somehow because I'm living in my mother's house. So I basically take the I took my piano that my high school teacher had given to me. It was like this electronic keyboard. I put it on eBay. First time I was watching Grant Cardone and all these guys, 2016, started feeding my brain, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And I put the piano on eBay, $700, bro. I would be lucky if I got $15, like 15 hours a week. I couldn't make $700 in 2 weeks in 2 months at Olive Garden. So for me, bro, when I saw that, I was like, you mean to tell me I can sell something and I can make money without having to work online? So I was like, that's where it opened me up into business. And then that was a gateway into investing. And, my friend called me at that point and he said, he was in New York. He said, Vinny, we're working on some amazing things down here with investing and finance. You should take a look. I came down here and, you know, I see him living his life, bro. He's got a big team up in Canada, and now they got a team out in Florida. Now we're building a team over here in New York. But it was thanks to him, man. He's our age. Dude is our age, you know, and just basically has some sage, a bold statement, bold suggestion. He said, yo, you want to change things? Because I'm like, bro, how do I get out of this thing? I smell like fettuccine Alfredo every day. I got chicken parm on my shoe. Like, I'm vegan. I don't even like this stuff on my freaking clothes, you know, but I got to make money. So what do I do, man? How do I get to a point where, you know, maybe I could like make a little bit of money, not even retire both of my parents like you did, you know? And so he put me onto this. He put me on an InvestView. You know, I got in when at the penny stock when the IPO came out. Now it's at 55 cents a share, you know, and it's made a lot of people a lot of money. Essentially, you know, and then all the other things we do with crypto and trading. I started learning how to invest, and bro, it just happened from there. So you gotta listen to people who have the things that you want, you know, like for those people that are listening, just follow the people that have things that you want. Cause I was listening to my parents' advice for too long on things they weren't experts in, when I should have been listening to them about life. That's what they're experts in, right? But when it comes to finance, nah, man. When it came to finance, I had to follow the people who had credibility in that area. So I guess that's a long story short. So again, I appreciate you kind of giving me the space to share that, because that stuff, when you really think about it, you go back, sometimes we revisit those moments, and there's a little hesitation. And when you go into those moments, you tap into, you know, that strength that got you out of there in the first place, you know?
Started from the bottom.
Bro, Vic, it's always good just catching up with you, bro. Like, likewise. Everything that you're doing, man, like how much influence that you're having on people's lives right now is incredible. I know I can't tell you how many people right now who know you personally. Like I mentioned another kid the other day who said so many good graces about you. And bro, I follow you. I follow you on a regular basis and watch what you're doing. And I want to be involved more in what you're doing, because your energy is off the charts, bro. I love it. Anything I could do to answer, you know, anything I could do for this NDAO thing. I know doors close at noon. Any of those people, any of your people who want to know about it, tell them to hit me up. I know that they're staring at me over here at the office. So we're gonna get into it. But any other questions I can answer that you think they're gonna want to ask you when it comes to NDAO?
I think at the end of the day, we are good. We are Gucci. If anybody has watched this, we're going on 36 minutes. Not only did you hear this man's story, but he's dropping nuggets. He's dropping wisdom. He's dropping sort of a pathway. Yeah, baby, drop them like it's hot. And but ultimately, you know, we all have to pass it forward. And you said something that's important, that, you know, you were working, you were a vegan and you were serving meat. You know, that's like contrary to your like manifesto, to your life principles. But you said, you know, hey, I got to do something different. And you recognize that BYOB, building your own business, was a way to do it, but you needed to have a mentor. You need to have someone guide you. And what do they say? When the student is ready, the teacher shows up, and someone threw you a lifeline and you said yes to it, but you also were willing to fill your knowledge and recognize that, look, my parents, this is what they know. My family, my culture, my community, this is what they know. And this is what we practice. And it's not giving me the results that I want and that I desire. So I got to practice the right kinds of principles that are going to actually give me a good return on the investment of my time, my energy, my mind, my willpower, my strength, my body, my life. So I want to thank you, man, because you have blessed so many. I just think that we all need to just be a light. We all need to pass it forward. We all need to love one another, lift each other up. So thank you, brother, for helping me rise up and for allowing me to be my best self. And may we continue to do the same for others, and others may get inspired to do the same. And may it create a ripple effect that sets the world on fire, baby. So thank you, bro. I appreciate you.
Let's go.
And let's go. Let's do this. We'll talk in a little bit.
Candela.
Ya tú sabes.
Talk to you soon, brother.
Talk to you soon.